Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo, wow. Quieren pensar, sin ni siquiera estar al mando. Tanta publicidad subliminal te está matando. Les cuesta decidir por sí mismos cuál es su mando. Publican sonrisas con el corazón llorando. Quieren brillar, pero sin tener que valerse de tener sus ideas propias. Los veo a todos igual, solo son la réplica de la imitación de una triste copia. Obedece, la vida es un suspiro y envejeces. Te dejas distraer por estupideces y pierdes el eje. Te duele por dentro, entonces te creces, pero aceptas mucho menos de lo que mereces. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. Conserva tu juicio y tu intuición, más activos que el que lucha por lo suyo y no se rinde. Yo ya sé bien cuál es mi misión, y es contarte que el mal por su propio pie pronto se extingue. No caigas bajo su control, pues por la televisión es normal que mal lo pinte. Tú mantente firme en conexión con la fuente de creación, vivirás siempre de fin de. Dios, abre los ojos, dime lo que ves. A tus propios hijos matándose por billetes. Niños por cada 2 por 3. Pa' unos es bendición, con otros por su causa pequen. Y yo que intento ser un ser crístico, voy bendiciendo hasta los diablos. Piensan que es cierto el mensaje típico. Dicen que invento lo del engaño, y mientras lucho contra mis errores, demonios escucho, me ofrecen soluciones. Pero sé que hay un ángel que quiere que mejore. Me dice haz un trabajo interno antes de que lo ignores, antes que otra vez llores y se llenen los mares de pena y de dolores, ya que en mi mente no caben. La paz no va en un sobre, somos algo importante. Nunca te revelaste y por eso no lo sabes. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. Me desperté tan cansado, me sentía mal herido de todo lo que he pasado. No me quita lo aprendido, por dentro me he perdonado, pero casi no me olvido. Me desperté tan cansado, me sentía mal herido de todo lo que he pasado. No me quita lo aprendido, por dentro me he perdonado, pero casi no me olvido, no. Todos repiten lo que dice el referente, discursos vacíos lejos de ser coherentes. De lo que no sabes será mejor que no inventes, que investigues y no te dejes lavar la mente. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. ¿Y quién te ha dicho a ti que no puedes pensar sobre lo que decís, sobre cómo actuar? Lucha por ser feliz sin a nadie dañar, y solo así podrás brillar. Quiero pensar, pero no puedo, no. El ruido en la ciudad está consumiendo, wow.
Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Copyright disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this intellectual property. The content provided today has and always will belong to the content owner. Bible Chronicles does not have any affiliation with the owner of this property. As mentioned, Bible Chronicles did not intend to make use of any material for the purpose of harvesting gain. However, Title 17 of United States copyright law states material in use can only be done when it's for theological or general educational purposes, and thus Bible Chronicles believes that this principal material falls under fair use, which honors protection under Section 107 of the same U.S. copyright law.
Let me use this one instead. Sounds kind of weird. I already told you guys how I feel about family, about children, and when I see my kids, what I see, who I see. Okay? I've never hid that from you guys. That's why this is important. So I'm going to bring you back a little bit to history, and I'm going to show you how it continues. This isn't a show, and I'm not here to debate, and I'm not here to answer stupid questions, and I'm not here to say, hey, whatever. Nah. Okay. Hey, shalom, bro. Good morning. I'm not here to do that. This is a serious topic. So if you have any scoffers, I'm going to block you right off the bat. I ain't got time for you guys today. Today is something that our people need to know. Family, over and over, we keep seeing a lot of our children missing. Okay? Our children missing. Okay? Our children are missing, and then they're also getting killed. And quite frankly, I'm not sure why a lot of us are more aware of it. As you know, quite some time ago, we had this right here, right? What we know and we don't know in Texas massacre. We may never know why a shooter gunned down 19 children and 2 teachers. Most of them were our people. Okay. We've seen trucks being stopped halfway in emergency because our people are in there stuck trying to cross the border. We have brothers and sisters dying in the deserts, crossing the border. We have people, white people, like the Republican ones, I'm saying it like that want to go bomb Mexico. And it hasn't, historically, this is nothing new under the sun. I'm going to show you something. Let's listen in.
Again, please. The enslavement of Native Americans really began before the enslavement of Africans, not only in the Caribbean by the Spanish, where it was extremely extensive. In the Caribbean, I might mention that the numbers were huge that were involved, and they had several kinds of slaves. They had the normal slave, but they also had people who were called, they were called Indians from the useless islands. They were from islands where there was no gold. And so they had the right to go and remove people from those islands.
The useless islands?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Jamaica,
mean?
for example, would be a useless island because it had no gold. Inutiles, not useful. And they needed labor so badly on Haiti, where the gold was found, Haiti, and Cuba, that they were stealing people constantly and removing them by force from other islands. Even after it was no longer technically in the best or possible, legally even, to enslave, they still could remove them as forced free labor. We could call it later coolie labor, right? And then they had other categories of unfree Indians as well. But once the population declined on the islands themselves, they began raiding the north coast of Venezuela and Colombia very extensively, also part of Panama. They also came up here and cleaned out the Bahamas completely. All the Lucayo people.
What period are we talking about now?
Well, we're into the 1440s, 1540s, 1560s. Many people from Florida, South Carolina is raided for slaves, and also the west coast of Mexico in the 1530s. Many Mexican Indians are sold as slaves, and it extends on into a much later period of time. But in short, the tremendous numbers of Native Americans were enslaved, and the Spaniards kept looking farther and farther afield for slaves to replenish the labor supply. And part of that, of course, meant then that they turned to Africa. And
so I wanted to give you guys a little introduction on that right here, in case you guys are not aware of this. Let me go to Jeremiah 16 real quick. I'm not going to be too long on this, fam. Jeremiah 6:17, it reads, "Then the Lord appointed sentry." Here, let me go here real quick. 6:17, it says, "Also I set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, we will not hearken." Most High sends people all the time to us, but we don't want to listen to them, even to this day. "Therefore hear ye nations, and know, O congregation, what is among them. Hear, O earth, behold, I will bring evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts, even their mind's going to be destroyed after we see what they do, because they have not hearkened unto my word, nor to my law, but rejected it. To what purpose cometh there to me increase from Shabbat," meaning from the east, "and sweet cane from far country? Your burnt offerings are not acceptable, nor your sacrifices sweet unto me. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will lay stumbling blocks before these people, and the fathers and the sons together shall fall upon them, and the neighbor and his friends shall perish. Thus saith the Lord God, behold, a people come from the north country, a great nation shall be raised from the isles of the earth. They shall lay hold on bow and spear. They are cruel and have no mercy for your sons and daughters, especially. Their voice roars like the sea, and they ride upon horses, set arrayed as men for war against thee, O daughter of Zion." Deuteronomy 28:49, Habakkuk 1:8. "A nation from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle, on horses like Habakkuk, with bows and spears. We have heard the fame thereof, our hands wax feeble. Anguish has taken behold us, and the pain as a woman in travail." Just like when they first came, the Spaniards, Moctezuma. We have that history. "Go not forth into the field, nor walk by the way, for the sword of the enemy and fear is on every side." This hasn't changed, man. Not one bit. This is from American Holocaust, page 67. Watch this. "When our caravels in which I wished to go home had to leave for Spain, we gathered in our settlement 1,600 people, male and female, you so-called natives, our gente, Indians, Mexicas, of whom among the best male and female, little children, were embarked on our caravel, on February 17th before February 1495. 550 souls. Of the rest who were left, the announcement went around that whosoever wanted them could take as many as he pleased. Remember this, okay? Nothing new under the sun, fam. And this was done. Okay, so it would take as many, and it was done. I mean, it wasn't a choice. It was done. And when everybody had been supplied, there were some 400 of them left to whom permission was granted to go wherever they wanted. Among them were many women who had infants at their breast. Women and children. Infants in their breast. They, in order to better escape us, since they were afraid, would turn to catch them again, left their infants anywhere on the ground, and started to flee like desperate people. Deuteronomy 28, 51, 52, 53, 54. I'm sorry, 52 through 55. Now, no one knows what happened to those 600 or leftover natives who were enslaved on the admiral orders by whosoever wanted them, or 400 or so fled in terror, and there or abandoned their infants. But by the time Columbus' ship entered the waters outside of Spain, of the 550 captured Indians, women and children, he took with him 200 had died. So out of the 550, 200 had died. Says Cuneo, black guy, black American, African, we cast them into the sea. You hear that? You know those movies like Amistad? They never made a movie about us that. We're just black people. But that's not my point. When they reached Cadiz, half of the remaining 350 slaves were sick and dying. Sick and dying, fam. They took 1,600, what's that, 2,000 people, maybe? 2,000 maybe? 3,000 people? This is from a short account of the destruction of the Indies. Page, I believe. Well, I don't know what page. And this is not to mention the flogging, beating, trashing, punching, curses, and countless other vexations and cruelties for which they, meaning our people, were routinely subjected, and to which no chronicle could ever do justice, nor any reader respond save with horror and disbelief. Look, it is of note that all these island territories began to go to the dogs once news arrived after the death of the most gracious Queen Isabella, who departed this life in 1504. There is one other general rule in all this, and it is that wherever the Spaniards set foot, right throughout the Americas, they subjected the native inhabitants to the cruelty of which we have spoken, killing these poor and innocent people, tyrannizing them, and oppressing them in the most abominable fashion. Do you remember vexation? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 22. I'm sorry, verse 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing and vexation. 28, Deuteronomy 28:20. If you do evil and reject the Lord, he will bring on you disaster, confusion, and trouble in everything you do until you are quickly and completely destroyed. Verse 30, you will be engaged to a young woman, but someone else will marry her, meaning they'll take her, they'll rape her. That's what marry means. They'll lay with her. You will build a house, but never live in it. You will plant a vineyard, but never eat its grapes. Your sons and your daughters shall be given as slaves to foreigners while you look on. Every day you will strain your eyes, look in vain for your children to return. You're never going to see them back. Verse 41, you will have sons and daughters, but you will lose them. Why? Because they will be taken away as prisoners of war. Partis equitur ventrum. That's not just it. Not just it, man. We'll watch this video with you guys. It won't be too long, but it's important to touch on it. In this video, he said, share it and show it. So, Lord willing, he doesn't block it or anything. Now, I want to point this out, okay? This guy's been reporting a lot about what goes on. And one of the reasons this video came up a little while ago. And it was important to do this, okay? I wasn't going to really pay much attention, but I woke up and fell asleep again. And as I was listening, kind of hear this guy in some times, but I want you to notice what this guy says. His demeanor at first. Don't list the message, but I'm going to point out a lot of things out because you can see the spirit in this fool. Yeah, he's a whistleblower, but you know what, bro? You were there. You saw it. You saw everything. And the tone that he used initially, illegal aliens, and then this man had to correct them. You can see the distance. He doesn't see us as his people. And you know what? For all you so-called Hispanics that are assisting this nasty ass, I hope y'all die, man. And I hope you die like suffer, thus saith the Lord. I hope you do. Fair use. There you go. I think he said it's fair use. He said it was fair use. And listen, fam, this is painful, man. This is painful right here. So let's begin. If you have any scriptures, by all means, please share them.
The United States is the largest trafficker of children in the world. Children that are illegally kidnapped, brought across the U.S.-Mexico border, are then sold off to mostly wealthy Americans, used as sex slaves, and worse, if you can imagine, worse than that. It's happening, and the corporate media, of course, is largely ignoring the story for whatever reason. They refuse to touch the story, and when they do, they briefly touch it, and then it disappears. You can't find links.
Okay, so let's not kind of ignore what's going on here, okay? Let's look at this again.
Well, the United States is the largest trafficker of children in the world. Children that are illegally kidnapped, brought across the U.S.-Mexico border, are then sold off to mostly wealthy Americans, used as sex slaves, and worse, if you can imagine, worse than that. It's happening.
Sex slaves, family. When that orange orangutan went down the stairs and he said, murders, rapists, drug dealers. Oh, and some are good people. Now we're not just murderers, rapists, and drug dealers. We're also sex slaves. Sex slaves. Now, it's sad right now, honestly. I'll be real, brother. I know your name, but it's sad, bro, that it's just you. Anyway, let's go.
And the corporate media, of course, is largely ignoring the story for whatever reason. They refuse to touch the story. And when they do, they briefly touch it, and then it disappears. You can't find links on their website. It vanishes very mysteriously when they cover these stories. Many of these kids, these children, are kept in hidden concentration camps in the United States. Yes, I said it.
You hear that? In concentration camps. Hidden in concentration camps. Does it not ring a bell? Leviticus 26:36. I will make those of you who are in exile so terrified that the sound of a leaf blowing in the wind will make you run. You will run as if you were being pursued in battle, and you will fall when there is no enemy near you, meaning you will be afraid. You will be in shock. It says, I will make those of you who are exiled, meaning when you leave. And where do you think they're getting these children from?
Hidden concentration camps in the United States. We showed you one of these facilities a few months ago here on Redacted, a Walmart facility, a former Walmart facility in Brownsville, Texas, that is holding hundreds, if not thousands of children before they are sold off. A whistleblower who worked at one of these facilities, MVM is the name of the facility, has come forward to expose all of this. Carlos Arellano is a former U.S. immigration contractor, and he joins us now. Carlos, welcome to the show, and thank you for coming forward to share your story.
I just want to read this scripture real quick, and I'm not going to take it off the screen. Leviticus 26:38. And ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. And then we're seeing it, fam, because they're attacking our children. This is really, man, this is really sad. Let's go.
No, thank you for having me. It's like you said, when it comes to child trafficking, there's so much evil behind it that people don't want to touch the story, and if they do touch it, they touch it briefly. And it just goes to show you how much evil there is behind it, that it holds that much power over people, that it gets kept in the dark.
And hopefully we can expose this story. We can shine a light on it today. So anyone watching this, hopefully you can share this story out, share it with people who can spread it around to try to put an end to this awful, awful crime against humanity that's happening in the United States and around the world. So Carlos, before we dive into some more specifics of this, can you just give us, our audience, a background as to what exactly you did working as an immigration contractor and this company? Is it a government company relationship as a U.S. government contractor, or was it separate from the U.S. government?
Whatever your business needs, this print.
So the way it works is the U.S. government is washing their hands,
Government company relationship as a U.S. government contractor, or was it separate from the U.S. government?
So the way it works is the U.S. government is washing their hands, keeping their hands clean by going out and handing out massive contracts to organizations that they like to call NGOs, non-government organizations. And these NGOs, they will get contracts for food services, for laundry services, for educational services for the illegal immigrants. Everything under the sun that you can think of everything that we have to pay for, they will hand out $100 million contracts to give these services for free to the illegal immigrants. And
You see how he's talking, fam? To thee. It sounds like he's complaining about the money that's going to them. I don't care if you were. Now you knew. Shut your ass up. You were there too long. Should have just noticed it the first week. Took you years. Joshua 23:13. You may sure be that you may be sure that the Lord God will no longer drive these nations out of you. Advance. Rather, they will be as dangerous for you as a trap in a pit. Aren't they not keeping them in concentration camps? And a painful as a whip on your back and thorns in your eyes. You're gonna find out what I'm talking about. And this will last until none of you are left in this good land which the Lord your God had given you.
the company that I work for specifically, their job is they hold the largest contract to move children around the United States of America. So my job was to move children from point A to point B. And my job was to pick children up at the border and then move them to their sponsors. I've been to every state that you could name. I've been there.
Hey, you see this? Let me hear this guy again. We ain't getting away.
Children around the United States of America. Some children around the United contracts to give these services for free to the illegal immigrants. And the company that I work for specifically, their job is they hold the largest contract to move children around the United States of America. So my job was to move children from point A to point B.
You were a trafficker. You're going to pay.
And my job was to pick children up at the border and then move them to their sponsors. I've been to every state that you could name. I've been there. I've been to North Dakota, Vermont, Florida.
That sounds like a long time, right?
Dropping kids off, all of them. And New York City and Florida, the most popular ones. New York State and Florida. And the other job that I did, I've done this immigration work my whole life, but two main jobs that stick out the most is I was part of the management team. I helped ran the largest migrant hotel in New York City, the Row NYC, where I had to look over 5,000 migrants in the heart of Times Square, a block away. And my job was to, whatever these migrants wanted in New York City, whether it be spicy food, non-spicy food, or laundry services, we got laundry services for them. We had Uber services for them. If a migrant in New York City came to me and said, I want to go here in New York City, I want to go here in Brooklyn, but we're in Manhattan, My job was to get an Uber for them and things of that nature.
How did they have so much power? I mean, a migrant in New York City, was this a person?
Right, so you also gotta be mindful that these suckers are very sneaky. Oh, how do they get so much power? Shut up, man. This is the. And it's funny, man. You Republicans, bro. You are the most hypocritical people I've ever met. You're worse than Democrats, and you're a punk too. You took our people around. You should have known. Your interview should have told you, like, wait, what? Yeah, we're gonna need you to take these Mexicanos and you got to deliver them to the brothers over there in New York, dude. And you show up and you're like, I mean, as you're taking these kids are scared. You don't think they're scared? Oh, but no, I think what happened, fam, he probably was gonna get fired. I don't know. How do we know he didn't do something? Now he cares? Now it matters? Continue.
Responsible for the trafficking, or were these are people that had come across the border and you were providing sort of luxuries for them? Can you explain that?
You see what I'm saying, family? Luxuries for them. You see how the double talk, you see these snakes? A lot of our people are very ignorant and they fall for this. Oh, he's a great guy speaking. No, you see, he's using, oh, poor kids, but they're spending our money. If you know that they're trafficking children, why would you even consider trying to say that these people that are probably fathers and children and mothers of these children are somehow living in a privileged life? No, sometimes you got to get them Uber and I mean, I don't understand, man. You want them to walk around so they can get beat up or, transported back? And then what? Then you don't know what's going on. It's pretty stupid. But that's not the point, fam. Let's continue.
Well, the way it works is it's separate NGOs. So the one I escorted children for and the one I worked for in New York.
Thank you, bro. He is a legalized trafficker by Babylonian law, bro. Thank you very much.
Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha, bitch.
Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha. Hold on.
Gotcha, bitch.
Fat one. You ain't getting away from there, bro.
City are two separate companies. But the thing that people miss here is, for example, people think it's Governor Abbott who's sending all these people on buses to New York City. And it's not.
You see? Oh, now he's defending Governor Abbott, who's sending all these people. You mean they're not your people? That's why you were selling them legally. You're not getting away from this, man. You are arm and flesh with him. Now you regret it. Oh, Houston Astros, bro. I hope that ball hits you right in the head and you don't wake up again. You're disgusting, man. You're disgusting. Oh, I don't think he doesn't even feel. I don't think he even feels bad. It doesn't seem like it. It seems more like I want to look like I'm doing the right thing.
Not just Governor Abbott. Governor Abbott can account for like 15-20% of the people. Because if you look at the numbers that the state of Texas provides, it's about, they've bussed over about 30,000 people maybe to New York City, but New York City has about 80,000 people currently in their system. So the rest of these 50,000 people are going to NGOs like Catholic Charities at the southern border. And I think Ann talked about Catholic Charities, Ann and Michael. So Catholic bus tickets, airplane tickets, all on the federal taxpayer money.
You see? The topic is he is exposing the hidden U.S. child concentration camps and used for trafficking, but he's also complaining about the money. This is Babylon, white America. You are the beast the Bible speaks of. Let's continue.
To get these illegal immigrants from the border to New York.
See how he says you get these people. Does he sound like he sees us, or he sees himself in them? I don't think so. You're a beast, man. You're a wolf. You're a wolf. You're a wolf dressed as you're a wolf dressed as a sheep. Like, oh, it's not my fault. You're making money. You were going traveling. And then you know what he's gonna say? He says every time they got to somewhere, they would party. Jeremiah 15:3, I, the Lord, have decided that 4 terrible things will happen to them. They will be killed in war. Their bodies will be dragged off by dogs. Birds will eat them, and wild animals will devour what is left, the children. If you go to Ecclesiastes 3:18, it talks about the beast as man. The beast of the earth to devour and destroy. It's not just animals, family. It's people too. I said in my heart concerning this, Ecclesiastes 3:18, I said in my heart concerning the state of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts.
New York City. So a lot of these illegal immigrants are finding their way through federal taxpayer money from the NGOs to get around the country.
You see this? He doesn't sound remorse. He's a political stunt to make you, so that you got Republicans. You see the Democrats, Domino's, the Pizzagate. Pretty sure they are involved. But so are you guys. You guys are going to pay. Trust me, you're going to pay for what you're doing. Check this out.
But the thing is, they want you to believe that it's Governor Abbott. Governor Abbott is busing people.
Yeah, he's defending them.
But it's nowhere near the same numbers that these federal taxpayer-funded NGOs are moving people across the country.
And so the federal taxpayer-funded NGOs are bringing these migrants. We'll get back to the children part of this in a second. But for instance, in New York City, bringing these migrants to New York City to live in this, I guess, a hotel. By the way, New York City, Times Square, I used to work at Fox News, 1 block away from where you're talking about. Right there in Times Square. Right there, next to, like a block away from major news organizations, the Today Show, all.
So we're seeing that these organizations are the ones that have the control, are the ones that have the power. They're the ones that are administering, or at least deciding, the life of our brothers and sisters, where they stay at, where they live at. They're not given a card to shop. They're forced to be obedient. Like a slave. Shut up. What do you want to eat? Oh, that's too expensive. Man.
All of the major media, ABC News, all of them a block away from where this is happening, and total radio silence on this. So when they're at these hotels in New York City, what are they doing? Are they children? Are they adults? And then what happens to them?
So my hotel was a family hotel. So I had families spread across 28 floors. So from floor 1.
So you see, my hotel, okay, so he's traveling everywhere, but then he also runs a hotel? You're more than just an employee. You were making decisions. You were in management. So you knew what was going on.
All the way up to 28th floor is full of illegal immigrants.
See what I'm saying, family man? Hold on.
Keep my name out your mouth.
Let me do it again, fam.
Keep my name out your mouth.
It bothers me, fam. I told you, man, I'm going to stop.
It bothers me, family.
Bothers me, man.
Family
hold
unit.
on, I had the scripture, my bad. I'm not going to take too long. I'm almost done, like in 15 minutes. Leviticus 26:22. Actually, after that, I'm just going to let it run. Leviticus 26:22. It reads, I will send wild beasts among you. We just read that. People that shall rob you of your children and destroy your cattle. I will send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children. This is only happening to you so-called Hispanic kids.
But the
No, not Black Americans. This is a curse, fam. But they say we're not the people. This is called manifest destiny. The white man. The white man's manifest destiny.
thing is, they don't do anything all day. You talk to these people, they're not in a
So they don't do anything all day. Man, you talk to these people. This dude is a stunt. Listen to how he talks. There's no remorse in his butt. Let's go.
rush to leave. They're not in a rush to get out. So that's what my concern was me being familiar with the way these government contracts work. I would tell these people, hey, I'm looking out for you. If you have a family member who can help you out and wants to take you in, my advice to you is take them up on it, because one day this hotel will close down and they're just going to toss you out to the street and you're not going to have anywhere to go. So please, if I'm saying this in a good way and not in a bad way, I'm looking out for you. You got to go. But the thing is, these people would not take me seriously, because Mayor Adams had no rush to push people out. Now that it's gotten out of hand, now he's handing out 60-day notices where he's telling people you have 60 days to find a way to get other kind of housing, and now you're going to be out in the streets. So now that he's enforcing the 60-day notice, now that's why you're seeing these people out in the streets in tents, and they're spilling out over to the streets on the videos where they're sleeping on the side of the road. It's because they didn't run this the right way from the beginning. And for example, the hotel that I worked at, why would you put people all the way up to the 28th floor? Because these migrants are not going to be happy when the time comes to leave, and you're going to have to get the National Guard in there, and you're going to turn into a shoving match. And can you imagine them shoving each other, pushing each other, punching each other on the 28th floor? Someone's going to fall out. And it's like, why would you even do that? Why would you feel that?
Someone's going to fall out of the 28th floor, fam? I thought those were like thick glass type, man. Wow. Look, family, it's like I've told you, man, it's just repetitive. It's just repetitive, and it doesn't stop, because these people here, it says here, a nation from afar would come, right? What kind of spirit? Deuteronomy 28:50, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young.
This hotel up the whole way. And it's terrible. It's terrible what's happening in New York City, and I don't see it getting any better. It's just going to keep getting worse. I see it ending up like the Paris riots out in France. That's where it's headed.
See, propaganda. Let's go.
So let's get back to the children in the facility.
By the way, now that we created in motion about these damn immigrants, the kids, pay attention to the propaganda and the emotional roller coaster people just went through in 33 minutes.
Featured here, this former Walmart facility in Brownsville, Texas. You work there, correct?
So my job was,
he supposedly he was traveling everywhere, and then that he was responsible for a hotel of 28 stories. I'm sorry.
I did work there, but my job was to take kids out of those facilities and hand them off to sponsors across the country.
Okay, so now he says he did work there, but then he was taking them from there and handing them off to sponsors, meaning people that bought the kids, and he knew that because he was in management. What's the scripture I'm looking for, man? I got it. Let me see. Oh, man, I'm a little bit out of scriptures today, bro. I don't know why. Maybe I jumped on it too quick. It's okay. Is it this one? Let's continue. I'll look for it.
So can you walk me through that process? So you're an employee, you get an email? Do you get a text message that says, Carlos, on Tuesday, we need you to take these children to their sponsor family in Florida? And how did that process unfold? Can you explain that?
So yes, we would get text messages, we would get phone calls at 7 p.m. at night, 6 p.m. at night, saying, hey, we have a trip out tomorrow. Can you make the trip? I say yes. and later on in the night, I get a report time for the following morning. You get a 5 a.m. report time, 4 a.m. It's always in the dark because they don't want us picking up these kids in the day where people can see us.
Okay, so my question, family, at this point is, if this is going on, why is he still there? I mean, can't you tell this is all very suspicious, Fatso? Lamentations 5 and 1. Remember, O Lord, what has come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. Now they call us illegal immigrants or illegal aliens. Your own so-called people. He's getting mad because you're spending his money. Poor Abbott. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. And what happens with the leaders? We have drunken our water for money. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold on to us because who has the power? Israel doesn't have any leaders. Obviously, in this position, look at him. He was enjoying his family.
And I would get, for example, hey, 4 a.m. And I would not find out where I was going until the following day when I would show up to the charter bus.
I'm saying, family, isn't this suspicious? Wouldn't this be suspicious for you if you're in a job? Matthew 18:6, it says, but whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believeth in me, it will be better for him that a millstone were hang about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea. It's all good, man. You could just type the first part. It's cool. I'll read it. And that's a good one, bro. Verse 10, take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven.
We would get phones given to us, backpacks given to us, and until we got to the shelter, to the Walmart shelters that you broke on your show. We get files saying, hey, you're going to head off to Orlando, Florida. You're going to head off to Los Angeles. You're going to head off to Nashville, Tennessee. And you're dropping off 6 kids. And in those files, you get a hard copy of an ID of the sponsor who's waiting for you at the airport in baggage claim. So the handoff is always in baggage claim at these airports. So
legal trafficker, man.
The hard copy of the ID is the person you want to wait for. And they're supposed to hand you this physical ID to you in person. And you're not supposed to release the kid until you take a picture of the physical ID with the paper copy ID together on a government phone.
And these children, these are legal?
This is our so-called native brothers, okay? Our Hispanic little brothers and sisters are getting sold right now. You know, this is the sad part. I bet you, listen, man, there's been like four people, bro. And whatever, man, I don't care. Y'all gonna pay.
Immigrant children that are being kept there. Are the parents anywhere around at all?
No parents. No, these are unaccompanied minors. So all the kids you see in the Walmart shelters, no parents are here. No aunts and uncles are with them. They showed up to the border by themselves. So, and it's
with
crazy
coyotes,
because
with coyotes bringing them across. Right?
Yeah, correct. Because sometimes I would run into kids who tell me, a coyote told me exactly how to get to your shelter, is what they would tell me. They told me how many steps to walk north of here, where to turn, and they told me to, if I run into any border patrol agent, to say that I'm a minor, that I'm underage. That.
Do you think a kid would really do all that, man? You see how this? You see what? So you run a hotel, you go around states. I mean, you go around states to deliver children. You go to Walmarts, but then you say you also run a hotel, 28 stories high.
That I'm gonna run into a building, a
Thank you, bro. Revelation 6:8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And the power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. This is the fourth part, okay? But remember, the power was given unto them, not he, like the one West. Oh, it's Edom. No, unto them. It's more than one person. Pale horse, and death on it, and hell followed with him. Black and white, like the chessboard. To kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth, because these men and women are raping and selling our children. Let's continue.
Shelter, a Walmart type of shelter that's going to have food for me, that's going to have laundry services for me. And it would get so suspicious because the kids were being told by the coyotes exactly the way an NGO runs a Walmart shelter. And it gets you thinking, how the hell do coyotes know the system on this side, you know? Because they're supposedly only on the Mexico side, and they're not from the US, these coyotes, and they're not government employees. So how do they know what to expect in a shelter?
You see? You see, family? Remember we were watching propaganda, the whole controlling the minds, playing chess, keeping you guys to be against each other while ignoring our children. But you know, I know where evil is, family. The beautiful part is that they're very clear to see. The scriptures talk about that. Matthew 24:27, watch what it reads. For as the lightning cometh of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the sun be. You see, the enemy's coming from there. So now, how would we know where the enemy would be? For wherever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. See, this is what I'm saying? So where the carcass is at? Who's dead spiritually, family? Who's dead spiritually? Is it this one right here? No, hold on a second. Revelation 8:11-8. I had it backwards. And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. For also our Lord was crucified, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. And what did the scripture say before? The scripture before said this. 24, right? It said 24:27. No, 24:28. For wherever the carcass is, where the dead bodies are, there will the eagles be gathered together. So then, where are we? Who's gathering our people together? Who is the eagle, fam?
It's insane. And the other insane part is these Walmart shelters also have babies. I've escorted myself. I can personally myself say I picked up a baby that's 5 months old, 8 months old, 4 months old, and escorted them to a sponsor.
Okay. You this is too suspicious for me. So you've had babies 5 months old. You've ran 28-story high buildings. You were going to Walmart to where you shouldn't have people. You were giving kids away state to state, and now you were giving babies away. So you were involved for several years, and all of a sudden, what happened, man? Were you kind of saying, hey, listen, I know what you guys are going to do if you give me more money, or I'm going to go snitch on you? Let's continue, man. Matter of fact, I'll read this here real quick. Kind of goes with it. Jeremiah 31, fam. Jeremiah 31. Okay, verse 15. It says, thus saith the Lord, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rahel was weeping for her children, refused to be comforted by her children because they were not. Thus saith the Lord, refrain thy voice from weeping and thine eyes from tears, for thy work shall be rewarded, saith the Lord. They shall come again from the land of the enemy. And there is hope in thine end, saith the Lord, that thy children shall come again to their own border. I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself thus. thus has chastised me, and I was chastised. As a bullock unaccustomed to the yoke, turn down me, and I shall be turned, for thou art the Lord thy God. So yeah, it's tough to see it, family.
And how the hell do you realize who a sponsor is for this child when they can't even talk?
So who are, that's awful. The whole thing is awful, but who are these sponsors then? I know some reports are that these are mostly, at least in Florida, from reports I've heard, wealthy Americans who are paying for these children. But first of all, who are these sponsors? Do you when you interact with them, is there a representative for the sponsors that you're meeting face to face, or is it the sponsor, his or herself, who is meeting you face to face?
The sponsor is supposed to be meeting me face to face, because their ID is the one that I can only accept. So they're supposed to be at the airport, but a lot of the times it does not happen. And these sponsors are supposedly family members. They can be an aunt or an uncle. They're supposedly a stepmother. They're supposedly a stepfather. They're supposedly a sister or a brother or a cousin. Sometimes they're even family friends. But it's like, how do you prove that this is a family friend, or how do you prove this is a cousin, when you don't even do DNA testing anymore at the border when it comes to the current administration? And how are you? So these people are just calling up and saying,
see, there goes a jab to the current administration. This is the setup. They sound like they care. They don't. They just want to use as politics. Family, I'm getting tired of them using us as politics, even when it's sad. They're using this as politics while our children are getting sold into slavery. Sex slaves.
hey, yeah, that's my cousin, and that's it.
Yeah, America, white America. You Florida, you New Yorkers, you nasty damn white people. Y'all are the devils of the Bible, man. Just like these other ones that we're dealing with that came from Africa. You buy our children. Let's continue reading. You're going to pay for this.
I'm willing to take him in.
And you as an employee, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you thought you were reuniting families up until you didn't. Like, what was the moment you decided, wait a second, I need to blow the whistle on this. This is not what I thought it was.
So yes, you get into this type of work because you think you can make a difference. You know, you think it's these kids who are, and they have been through a lot, but you want to help them out and make them smile by buying them a.
Did you hear this, idiot? These are children kidnapped. Children taken from their parents. You idiot. Idiot. Do you understand the shock that can happen to a child? Do you know with the actual shock? Do you understand how severe that trauma is for a child? Does that make sense? Does that not matter to you? Oh, that's right. They're just illegal immigrants for you, right? They're illegal immigrants. These people. Where's that page at, fam? I had a page here real quick. Give me a second. Thought I had it. It's regarding trauma. Actual trauma from abduction. Because when you cause children to go through these things at a young age, it causes trauma forever. But you're talking about like, oh, I was trying to give him a candy. Maybe that'll make him feel better.
A snack at the airport, a toy at the airport, because children are innocent. You know, no matter what, children, they don't know what they're doing, and they should be kept out of issues that are tearing our country apart. So you try to make their day.
You see this? They should be kept out of issues that are tearing our country apart. Hold on, I got one. I don't know why. Maybe I woke up too early. I can't remember anything right now. Psalm 64:3. Actually, 64:2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongues like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. Oh, we're going to help the children that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Shoot them how? Destroy them. And suddenly they do shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of slain snares privily. They shall say, who shall see them? Here we're seeing secrecy. We're seeing how they're at the same time. This channel here is using this moment for politics. I'm almost offended at this point now.
Better. But then I started hearing horror stories from my coworkers. My coworkers used to tell me my child that I escorted was crying because they said that they did not know the sponsor that I was taking them to. And they were telling me, please, sir, I don't want to go to the sponsor. I don't know them. They at the campsite where I was, at the Walmart shelter where I was, they told me that I supposedly know the sponsor, that the sponsor is supposed to be my uncle or my aunt, but I've never met him. I don't remember. And my coworker would say, but I don't care. I still
I think that's you were saying that. Let's go.
handed the child off, even though the child was crying, because I wanted to go out and party. And the reason why my coworker says that is because once we had the child off, we're allowed to go have our own thing. You know, if we're in Los Angeles and we hand the children off at the airport, we're allowed to go out into the city because our flight doesn't happen until the next day, our return flight. So the rest of the night we're free. And a lot of my coworkers were 18, 19 years old, 21 years old, taking care of teenagers. And their main worry was, oh, man, I want to go to the bar already. I want to go to a concert that's happening in downtown LA, but the sponsor's taking forever, or this child is crying, and I just want to hand them off. So they would hand the children off, even though they were showing signs of, I don't know the sponsor. And then I used to think my coworkers were lying or they were exaggerating, because I would tell myself my coworker just wants attention, so they're acting like.
Now listen, family. If your coworker's telling you that, do you really think, oh, my coworker just wants attention? So there's an agenda behind this message, but I want to show you this message because I know they don't care about our people. I know they don't. This is very insulting, family. Kind of want to end it now. Trying to look for a scripture here. I was looking for it. Maybe I won't find it. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I know it was there, but I couldn't remember. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12, family. As for my people, children are their oppressors. Children are their oppressors. And women rule over them. Children are their oppressors. How old are these stupid kids? 18, 19. I want to go party, man, because there's such a good party, bro. You know, excuse my language. F these damn spicks, beaners, and wet bags, man. They're not even supposed to be legal. The hell with them, bro. I don't care. Let them get raped. Who cares? I want to party, man. I want to snort some coke. I want to get high. I want to get laid. You wicked bastards, man. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they do what they want because they don't believe in regeneration. They think they come back and that's it. Let's listen in. Children are their oppressors. As for my people, children are their oppressors. What do oppressors do? They traffic children.
Taking forever, or this child is crying, and I just want to hand them off. Hey, our return flight. So the rest of the night we're free. And a lot of my coworkers have our own thing. You know, if we're in the child was crying because I wanted to go out site where I was, at the Walmart shelter where I was. They told me that I supposedly know the sponsor, that the sponsor is supposed to be my uncle or my aunt, but I've never met him. I don't remember. And my coworker would say, but I don't care. I still handed the child off, even though the child was crying, because I wanted to go out and party. And the reason why my coworker says that is because once we had the child off, we're allowed to go have our own thing. You know, if we're in Los Angeles and we hand the children off at the airport, we're allowed to go out into the city because our flight doesn't happen until the next day, our return flight. So the rest of the night we're free. And a lot of my coworkers were 18, 19 years old, 21 years old, taking care of teenagers. And their main worry was, oh, man, I want to go to the bar already. I want to go to a concert that's happening in downtown LA, but the sponsor's taking forever, or this child is crying, and I just want to hand them off. So they would hand the children off, even though they were showing signs of, I don't know the sponsor.
He keeps blaming everybody, right? Children are their oppressors. Children, 18, 19-year-olds. They didn't care. You had no compassion for these children. 5 months old? 18 months old. You know that they were scared. Did they not occur to you? But you guys just thought it was like cattle. You guys thought it was just a package. I could read Deuteronomy 28 all day, family. Even our own people maybe were selling us like that. Y'all are disgusting, man. I hope you get what you deserve.
And then I used to think my coworkers were lying or they were exaggerating because I would tell myself my coworker just wants attention, so they're acting like. And as sick as it is, people like attention that way.
You hear this? You know he's lying. There's lie and truth in this. And I hope I do see you.
And I would brush it off saying there's no way that's true. But then one day I received an email from my boss admitting in a company email that we handed off children to the wrong people. And all the stories that I would hear from coworkers immediately just hit me hard in my face. And I had a big panic attack and I couldn't breathe. And the reason why is because I also would get stories from kids where a child wouldn't want to talk. And when I would get to the sponsor would tell me he's not talking because his sibling was with him and she got raped in Mexico and she got murdered in Mexico as well. So these children go through crazy situations like.
But he makes sure that he said it in Mexico, right? Even though these children are getting raped as well. So you get a chance to talk to these kids, but you still don't help them.
That. And then they tell me these stories. And then you get an email from your own boss telling you, we fucked up. We gave children to the wrong people. And the reason why it's so sickening is because in my office alone, there was about 300 of us, 200 to 300 of us.
You hear that? In his office alone, fam. And each one was having like 5 kids, transporting them, giving them to total strangers. They weren't even checking because they were in a rush to go get high. This is your kid, fam. This is your brother. This is your sister. I know you guys don't give a damn because look, it's funny, man. You guys don't give a damn. Only 5 people have bothered to check in, bro. Y'all, that's disgusting, man. You guys disgust me, bro. I guess you guys are hungover from yesterday. Is that what's going on? I'm taking a break from. I'm about to finish this soon because this is pissing me off.
I would say at the most 400 employees. And each one of us can sometimes have 6 kids, 8 kids at a time. And the word around the company was that the boss had found records of us handing off kids to the wrong people for an entire month. So each day there's escorts going out. So that's thousands of kids for an entire month that were handed off to the wrong people. And could you just imagine a company that's working for the government admits in an email to we gave kids to the wrong people? You just lose your entire faith in the company, in the system. And it's like, what am I doing here? I can't be part of this anymore. So that's why I decided to speak out, because the company themselves admitted we're trafficking kids.
Have you ever tried Wix or Squarespace but never finished your website? You're not alone. 80% of business owners.
And it's all happening.
Part of this anymore. So that's why I decided to speak out, because the company themselves admitted we're trafficking kids. The company themselves admitted we're trafficking kids. The company themselves admitted we're trafficking kids.
Legalize trafficking. You legalize trafficking, pimp. Prayers of Azariah. Listen to the Apocrypha, fam. I'm going to just read it to you. Verse 6, for we have sinned and committed iniquity. Yeah, I'll just put it here. And departing from thee, in all things that we trespassed and not obeyed thy commandments, nor kept them, neither done as thou hast commanded us, that it might go well with us. Wherefore, all that thou hast brought upon us, and everything that thou hast done unto us, thou hast done in true judgment. And thou delivereth into the hands of the lawless enemies, the most wicked, hateful forsakers of God. Sorry, the most wicked forsakers of God. What the hell is that about? And to an unjust king, and the most wicked in all the world. All the world, family. Man, Let me give you this one real quick. This might as well, since we're here, might as well go there. Romans 12, Romans 12, verse 12. Rejoicing in hope, patience in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, distributing to the necessity of the saints, given to hospitality. Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not, so to say. So they say. He's talking about our people, family, not the enemy. Don't get that confused. Verse 19, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. That's the point. For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord. That's why it's giving you that sense of don't hold a resentment. It's going to destroy you. This is better wisdom, fam. That's why it requires you to be very prudent in this walk, man. Let's go.
And it's all happening right in front of our eyes, and the United States government is funding it. So these facilities, they're making their money from the United States government. And so if you drive up to this, like one of these Walmart facilities, you'll be met with guards at the gate, right? I mean, guards that are telling you, you're not allowed to come in here. Then how many kids are we talking about are at these facilities, like this, these former Walmart facilities? Are we talking hundreds, thousands?
Well, the Walmart that was shared on your show, I think you guys shared it, or you guys talked about it, that's about 1,500 to 2,000 kids. But that's not the only Walmart down here where I live. We have about 4 or 5 of them.
And these are former Walmarts, right? So these are giant facilities, former Walmarts that are housing these children. Are they like sleep?
Family, how all these little cracks where we're like, oh my God, they're doing these Walmarts. They're gonna put us U.S. citizens in there. Concentration camps. No, that's not for you. They've been trafficking our children since you nasty bastards got here. Both of your nations. There's only one way to fix this, family. Coming back to the laws of the Most High. Not the sacrificial, but you also have to have faith in that gray spirit that we're getting. It's the Old Testament, the Apocrypha, and the New. You can't be in the Old and not going to New. You can't go in the New and not going to Old. Can't pick and choose. Let's go.
Sleeping in cots and beds, and they're just there waiting to be, is it right for me to say, sold off to these people around the country? I mean, that's the best way to describe it, right?
It's the best way to describe it. You're right to say that, because just the way the company admitted in an email to, hey, transportation specialist, you're taking the wrong documents and you're giving kids off to the wrong people. It's an open world of possibilities of what's happening, And God bless Michael and Ann, because Michael and another gentleman by Ryan Matter from Live Free America TV and Mudracker.com. These are just some independent journalists who've come down here and have been exposing this whole thing. And
we've been exposing this for some time. That's it, bro. Exactly. None of that. And keeping the commandments of the scriptures, keeping the high holy days, the Sabbath, the new moon. The only time you actually need to sacrifice is on Passover. I mean, not sacrifice, you know what I mean? You cut a lamb. And no, the Messiah didn't save you. He didn't die for you, so then you go sin. No. He showed us a path. Think of Abraham, family. He wasn't keeping the laws, but he had to come into the covenant. He needed a lamb, remember? If you sin, you gotta bring a lamb. But he didn't have a lamb, so he was going to give his son, right? But at the end, the Most High saw faith in him before works. So he just said, nah, I got you. I got a lamb for you. So it's not the opposite. It may not be for everybody, man.
And when they came down here, they were met with aggressiveness. They were met with, we're going to call the police. You can't be here. You can't take pictures. And they have signs like it says media tour. You can request a media tour. But when Michael and Ryan,
see, that looks like our people, so-called our people, family. Be mindful. 2/3 are going to be destroyed. Lord willing, you ain't one of them. And 144 is going to be saved. He's only looking for 144 strong men of each tribe, 12,000 each. The 1/3 will come after. But the 2/3, you guys are getting rooted right now in that fire.
And would request a media tour, they were met with, oh, you have to go on the website. It's not available right now. Go on the website. It's just, if you have nothing to hide, why are you being so aggressive? You know,
Is there any follow-up with the children later? Like to follow up and see, are these children still alive? Have these children remained with these quote unquote sponsors, these people who've purchased them? Is there any sort of follow-up mechanism in place? Did you have occurrence where you went back and would meet with the families again or meet with any of these sponsors who bought these children?
no follow-up by the escorting agency, none whatsoever. I do know that case managers try to make one phone call, but I do know that this phone call, if they don't answer, if it's disconnected, that's it. They don't put any effort towards it. They don't leave a voicemail, nothing at all. It's just one follow-up phone call a month later. But this phone call is not even enforced. It's left up to the case managers to their own discretion whether they want to make it or not. If they want to make it, they can go ahead and do it. If they don't do it, they're not punished for it. And that's it. The kids are not given a phone number saying, hey, call this phone number if you're being harassed or abused. No. What's happening is the kids are calling the national trafficking hotlines or the abuse hotlines, and they're leaving messages saying, the government dropped me off here and I'm being abused, or I'm being pimped out, or I'm being made work. And they're calling the national hotline.
See that, family? So Rock 25-1. I'm almost done. I'm going to go home today, family, and I'm going to hug my daughter as tight as I can. And I hope you guys do the same. I hope you guys hold your kids today. And just thank God that hasn't happened to you. That your kids are home. Or your sister, or your little nephew, or your niece. Stop thinking of yourselves. Damn Hispanics. Y'all are some selfish people. Stop thinking of yourselves. This shit ain't about you. It's not about me. It's about them. We're supposed to hold the door for them. So Rock 25-1. In 3 things I was beautified and stood up beautiful before God and men. The unity of brethren. Are these little kids not your brethren? Are they not your brethren? The unity of brethren, meaning you protect each other. You watch over each other. When you see something suspicious, you go out of your way to save them. Not because they're your children only, because you see you and them. The love of neighbors. You telling me these damn driving around in those little cars, you know, they're so-called Hispanics. You telling me they don't care? The unity of brethren, the love of neighbor, and a man and a wife that agree, but you can't agree if you're taking your kids in slavery. Verse 7, there be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy. And the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that had joy in his children, and that he lived to see the fall of his enemy. A man that had joy in his children. Do you think these brothers and sisters have joy? They don't have their kids. You think that fat ass really cares? Verse 8, well, it's him that dwelleth with his wife of understanding, and that had not slipped with his tongue, and that had not served a man more unworthy than himself. You're serving other people. If there are people that are more unworthy than you, but you chose to make money. Well, it's him that hath found prudence, and he that speaketh in the ears of them that will hear. Oh, how great is he that findeth wisdom? Yet is there none above him that feared the Lord? No, I don't think they do, family. I don't think y'all do.
So that's why there's reports out there of kids working in slaughterhouses, kids being pimped out. And it's terrible what's happening, but it's slowly starting to get out, but it's being suppressed by the mainstream media.
It's unbelievable how it's being suppressed by them. You would think this would be the most important story in America, but it's not. And well, it is, but it's being totally hidden by the mainstream media. Do you know how much are they paying per child, these sponsors?
Oh, Anne would have a better answer when it comes to this, but what I do know is that I can tell you. So I would have two kinds of trips. Sometimes I would fly economy. I would fly on United Airlines. I would fly on American Airlines, and these kids were being handed off to sponsors at the airport. But then I would have a second kind of trip where it would be charter airplanes at private airports. And when you get to these private airports, you have kids there who are they're talking to each other, and before they get on a private airplane, in front of me, they're saying things like, telling the other kids there, hey, what's your favorite shelter? And a kid will start saying, my favorite shelter was the shelter in Seattle because the shelter in Seattle gave us iPads. Or they start saying, my favorite shelter is in Chicago because in Chicago they had a Nintendo Switch for us. And I start thinking to myself, wait a minute, you're at the border and you ended up in the shelter in Chicago, you ended up in the shelter in Seattle, and somehow you're back at the border again in Texas at a private airport in El Paso, and now you're going back to the East Coast. What is going on here? You're just being shipped around the country from shelter to shelter, and then you're ending up back at the border, and then you're going back out. What is going on? Like, this is strange. And then the reason why I'm bringing these trips up is because I have this one terrible story where a kid came up to me once and he said, they like to call you teacher. So they said in Spanish, teacher, can you help me out? And I said, of course, what's going on? And he tells me, I arrived at the border about a year and a half ago, and my sister was with me. But the last time I saw my sister was at a shelter in Chicago, Illinois. And my mom has not heard from my sister either. And she's going crazy because she hasn't heard from her in months. And there's been no phone call, and I don't know where she is at either. Can you help me? And this system is so, excuse my language, but it's fucked up to the point where I don't know what it is that I can tell this child or how can I help him. All I can do is get him on the airplane, and you're going to another place on the other side of the country where they're supposed to continue your case. But when we get to these places where they're supposed to continue their cases, it's at 3 a.m, at 2 a.m in the suburbs. And in these suburbs, it's when you knock on the door, it looks like a family home. You got family pictures on the inside. There's a lady who's just looks like she's cooking dinner, and there's kids running by, and there's toys scattered across the floor, and there's 2 cars parked out on the garage. And it's like, how is this a shelter facility when it looks like a family home, you know? And I had no way to fight it. It's just, this is the address, and I would drop off 3 kids from Central America, 2 female girls from the Middle East, and they would all stay at this home. And these trips were always in the middle of the night, and we would land in an airport in Orlando or in Jacksonville, Florida, drop off kids in Jacksonville, continue on in a charter bus or in a rental car, drop off kids in North Carolina, drop off kids in South Carolina, drop off kids in Georgia, come back to the private airport in Orlando, Florida, and then fly back to Texas. So I don't know how that sounds to you, but it's really shady.
All in the South, man, where it all started. I hope you 2 nations, man, get what you deserve. I hope that butt breaking doesn't come from a human being, man. I hope it happens from some weird ass beast. I pray to the Most High. Remember, family, if you guys are in here being Christians or look, there's a lot of people that misunderstand what I'm actually sharing. You guys need to get it straight. Let's see this real quick. Wisdom of Solomon 18:7. So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous, meaning our brothers and sisters that are suffering, because I'm a damn well hold the door. I want them to come in, fam, before me. I don't think I've ever suffered like that. That's suffering. They were transporting them to give them sex toys. You nasty white people, man. Y'all are dirty as hell. Y'all just something, man. You fake as hell. I really hope the Most High uses me as a tool of destruction. Thus say the Lord, because I may not enjoy it, but He's going to put a different spirit on me. And destruction of the enemies. They always talk about the children. Then glorifying movies from that bastard Mel Gibson. Yep. Nah, these people don't care about us, bro. There's always an agenda behind these people. Hey, listen, man. That's why I'm telling you. Y'all the people of the book. Stop denying it. The only way we change it is by repenting. Because they're not going to stop. Repent. The kingdom is at hand.
Well, shady's one nice way of putting it. I'll get you out of here on this, Carlos, because you've been so gracious with your time. The Texas government, Governor Greg Abbott's office, et cetera, have you spoken to them? Have you come forward to them about what's happening? And if so, have they done anything about it? Are they planning to do anything about it, or are they sweeping it under the rug?
They're sweeping it under the rug. I've heard from nobody, and they're sweeping it under the rug because these facilities legally they're running by the law because they have state permits that they need to get. So the state of Texas know that these facilities exist. They don't and they're sweeping it under the rug because these facilities legally they're running by the law because they have state permits that they need to get.
Texas, and Abbott allowed it, right? But you're defending him.
So the state of Texas know that these facilities exist.
So Abbott knows, but you're defending him, right? They're like, oh, well, he just sent a few people, but you have them in Texas because that's where you're at. You said there's like 7 of them in Texas that Abbott knows about.
They don't exactly know like the name of these kids. They don't know exactly the information, but they know they're there. But these facilities can't run without state permits. So I don't know if it's Governor Greg Abbott or someone in his administration, but they're aware and they're not doing anything about it. And I've heard from 0 people from DC, no one from DC, no one from Texas. There are people who've promised, hey, we'll help you out to get you places to tell your story, but then they always fall through the cracks. And there's people currently working out there, good people trying to get me to tell my story more. But at this moment, no government, nothing, 0 from the Texas government. And it's sad because you would think that they care. And honestly, they don't care because they haven't done anything about this.
Thousands of children being kept in these concentration camps in the United States, funded by the federal government, and then children shipped off to quote unquote sponsors, never to be seen again or heard from again. No confirmation, DNA testing to prove that these people have any connection with the person that they're taking. We've had multiple sources here on our show who say these children are being sold off as sex slaves, being used in sweatshops as slaves, as physical labor slaves, and the most horrible thing of all, which is organ harvesting. And we've heard this multiple times from multiple sources that this is happening in a large capacity in the United States. It's a multi-billion-dollar a year industry, and no one's doing anything about it. But you are, for coming forward and sharing your story, Carlos. It's just heartbreaking. We hope that our audience shares this story, calls a local representative, tries to get you into Washington, D.C. to tell your story in front of a congressional hearing. We will do whatever we can here at Redacted to make that happen. And please, anything else we can do, don't be a stranger. Please let us know. Okay, Carlos?
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. It's been a tough road, but thankfully people like Savannah Hernandez, who gave me my first interview, and along the road I've run into people like you, Michael, and Ryan from LFA TV. There's good people still out there trying. So thank you for allowing me to come on your platform and speak on this.
My pleasure, and thank you for your bravery on this. Thank you, Carlos. We appreciate it.
Yo, comentando, ¿qué dicen? Sí, ¿qué cuentan? Ya, escúchame, ya. Los medios cuentan que si hay libertad de prensa, la mordaz es cosa escasa y todos dicen lo que piensan. Y esa sutil es impresa y repetida diariamente tiene contenta tu mente con yo soy combate y fiesta. Presta el control, Tarantino no es tan gore como los crímenes de amor que a toda hora se nos muestran. Pues tal vez la estrategia impuesta, pánico en el público y manejarás el cuestapal. Político en vez de patrullas se vende camilla para un hospital, como si esa mierda de tombo no diera seguridad. No será casualidad que el otro dueño del canal sea el otro sobrino pero bueno de cumplir hermano pariente papá. Que esa nostalgia no es noticia, su codicia se evidencia. Propicia violencia y plástico, panémicas belleza. Fútbol, patriotismo falso, culos, vasos de cerveza. Pele cáncer pa' tu mesa y el domingo en misa pesa. Sobre su cabeza pesa el atraso mental del pueblo. Oposición vendió trasero, dictador, grupo Romero. Pero se confundieron acá, la palabra es cruda. Autoeducación en camino se afloja la lucha a través de cultura. Es como genera de uno, tal vez otro loco se suma. Ya saben, cortina de humo que explota la mina que mata la cuna. Primo, vengo que trata la friuna, no una pura canción que me dura. Así no censuran ni de basura, no les conviene que sepan verdura. Hay extorsiones, violaciones, robo, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en milis para que vivan en la fantasía, algún día cambiará.
¿Qué?
Hay extorsiones, robo, violaciones y antimar. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en bilis para que vivan en la fantasía, algún día cambiará.
Sensacionalismo, amigo eterno de la prensa, el mismo que forjó al humano sumiso,
Callado y muestra
en el noticiero, en el artículo del diario, la vida de una bebé que poco invierte.
al vecindario.
Sirven como fieles feligreses a oscuro intereses, mienten todo el día, crían, crean
Solo estupideces.
La historia afirma, indica que siempre negaron información alternativa que
Todo pueblo merece.
a cada instante pareciera su labor asesinar una memoria colectiva que hace una nación, con una prensa cómplice que juega con humor, desconociendo ese dolor
Que nos dejó ese dictador.
cortina de humo es su mejor función. Para apartarte de la fuente harán de todo.
Pues miró
hoy, como venderte el culo de Sharon Stone, cagándose en tu derecho
a la objetiva información.
El narco, el almirante, el presidente, el congresista, algún ministro, algún delegado, de seguro es el patrón
de
ese periódico morboso y amarillo que al leerlo 2 minutos te vuelve
en un show.
Los medios son culpables, responsables de toda propaganda basura que te ofrece la TV. Pues será mejor que se autoeduque, pues my friend, porque el comercio de los medios te carcome hasta las 100.
Hay violaciones, extorsiones, robo, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en bilis para que vivan en la fantasía, algún día cambiará. Hay extorsiones, violaciones, robo, llanto y más. Con tanto muerto el morbo están alimentando, ves no hay paz. Solo un odio contenido en bilis para que vivan en la fantasía, algún día cambiará. Que algún día cambiará. Que algún día cambiará.
CPF.